Moon Movie Blog. That's all I could remember. I'm very tired, pardon me, but it's been a little over a week since I went to go see Sailor Moon R, the movie that had a beautiful red carpet premiere event just recently here in LA, and I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Pushed this back a little bit along with the One Piece Film Gold premiere, but it's been a very good month for anime movies between these two and then Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side of Dimensions, and then even a little later it was just announced we got Your Name coming out soon. It's been very good for anime in theaters. I'm really happy to see that they're beyond just having limited releases in small theaters. They seem like they're really getting around very well. And Viz Media, I got to hand it to them. They really pulled out all the stops on this. This was a great event. I had been following a while ago. I did a Kerr blog about the redub of the original Sailor Moon series, and how I've become a much bigger fan of the show again after many, many years, and really got invested into it. This was a nice kind of refresher again, kind of getting back into it, because I actually was a fool, and I never finished watching the rest of the dub for Sailor Moon R, but kind of well-timed that this movie was happening, as it's the R movie specifically. Originally, I believe it was called over here at one point The Promise of the Rose. And I don't think if I had seen this like the old the previous dub from years ago, I'd very vaguely remember it, like if it was played on Cartoon Network or something ages back. But nonetheless, so yeah, the venue that they picked was amazing. It was a huge, very classy theater. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was in downtown LA. Quite a drive to get there, but absolutely worth it. And once I got there, I had a feeling it was going to be relatively fancy, so I made sure to dress nice, and I was in my fucking Reagan suit. But yeah, it was really cool, and all of the main cast and the brand manager for the series from Viz Media, Charlene Ingram, who put a lot of this together and also did an incredible job. They had the main cast and the voice director all there. Had a lot of celebrities. I think I saw Dante Bosco in there somewhere, and Pendleton Ward and a bunch of other people. It was really cool, and they had a photo area, and there were cosplayers and all sorts of cool shit happening everywhere. And yeah, they got right to it. It was a huge it was almost like a sound stage for what they had these presentation, and then an outro thing later. They did a Q&A afterward. Charlene went up and had the cosplayers, and it was this crazy surprise. My sitting kind of down towards the front, off in one of the corners, I think ended up being sort of to my advantage or a disadvantage depending on your perspective. But because they had a moment in the beginning before the movie was starting up, they asked the whole audience as part of because they were recording the whole presentation and everything. They asked fans to shout "Moon Planet Power Attack," I think something like that, for one of the special attacks from the series. And on the word attack, two glitter cannons on opposite sides of the stages fired off, and my ass was covered in little flakes of glitter everywhere, and some of it got in my glasses, and it was hilarious. Caught everybody by surprise. If you find, she's probably tweeted it somewhere. Viz Media tweeted it. There was a recording of when the cannon fired off, and it was something to behold. It was quite magical and very sparkly. So look at that. So then they had a little intro video where Ben Diskin, who is the voice of Fiore, the villain character, as well as Stephanie Shea, who plays Usagi, Sailor Moon, and Robbie Damon, the voice of Mamoru / Tuxedo Mask, did a little intro about the movie, talking a bit about it. Of course, it's now been, I think, about 2 years. Yeah, it's been over 2 years now since they started, maybe even close to 3 by this point, of recording on this new dub. In fact, I remember actually they premiered the first episode, or at least some of the previews of it and stuff, at the Anime Expo the weekend that I moved in summer of 2014. It's crazy to see how far it's come by this point, and they're still only up to Super Rest of the time. But yeah, plenty more to go on that, which is great. But yeah, it's cool that I'm actually glad that I was a little worried that they might have been saving to do the movies after they finished the entire series. But it was good that they did this one while R was still what they were up to currently. Before they got to the movie itself, they also had this little short thing. It was mostly a clip show, but actually it was quite useful because since it had been so long since I'd been watching episodes of the anime, it was a nice little refresher of just some cute scenes. It was basically Usagi and Chibiusa overhearing a couple of girls at like a cafe or something talking about all their favorite Sailor Scouts and everything, or Sailor Guardians, I should say, pardon me. And it was just some little clips of the show interspliced with some new footage of them being goofy as per the usual, and it was adorable. In fact, I don't know if that had ever been dubbed before. I think that they mentioned that was like a new thing that had never been dubbed before. So that was cool to see that. It was a nice little refresher. And then we got into the movie. And so I guess, the movie itself is pretty simple. In fact, and I don't mean this in a negative way. As far as I'm concerned, this particular movie, I don't know if the other ones are necessarily as much like this, but this one felt very much like kind of a long episode of the show. In that it's obviously feature length, and it has a 3-act structure and everything, but and the stakes are clearly much higher in terms of the what the villain is doing and everything. But in terms of like the pacing and like the kind of beats in the story, like it felt very much like it just could have been an episode, or maybe like a couple episodes kind of almost split up, which I don't know, maybe for all I know they could have done that at some point. But in a good way. It had the cute and fun Toei version of Sailor Moon like formula to it in terms of like what they were doing. But there was a pretty okay balance of like all the Guardians getting to have some kick-ass moments, fighting the plant monster people that were being sent down by Ben Diskin's guy. And I don't know how if there was much that was censored or whatever about the original. Obviously, it's it's pretty clear that the implication is that Fiore had a fixation of love and care towards Mamoru, that he felt very scorned, and even Usagi's protectiveness over him in the very beginning of the movie. Excuse me, he's my boyfriend. I don't know how much of that was like covered up or whatever in the old dub or anything like that, but certainly having it be the way it's supposed to be with how they've executed the story, I think was definitely nice. And of course, I love the new cast, and just the new general style of how they present the show and everything is much more. This is the way that I like it, to be honest. But and it was a really fun ride, and everybody in the cast did a great job. Ben was seductively creepy and pathetic in his like. There's I think the quote of the night, or apparently the quote of the recording when they were working on the movie itself was, "He threw a flower at me" in this very whimpering type way. It was very cute. I'm very much looking forward to later on when they get to the Super S movie, which is the one that I remember seeing the most as a kid. That's without a doubt my favorite. I don't know if I've seen the S movie before, but I am curious to see that one and see if my memory will be jogged. But nonetheless, yeah, this was a fun ride. It was a really nice reminder of like, oh man, I love these characters. Much like how One Piece Film Gold was. It was like, oh man, I love the Sailor Senshi, and they're great, and I love all these characters, and they make me smile. And it seemed like a fun little quick adventure, and there's the big final attack and the new insert song and everything, which was super cool as per the usual. And there was some better animation on this was like when the TV show has a good animation day, more or less, which was cool. And then actually a really big highlight for the event too was they had a Q&A session afterward, where, and actually I was glad about this, is that they had questions prepared ahead of time and they weren't necessarily taking questions from the audience, so they were able to keep it relatively interesting. No offense to people who ask questions at voice actor panels and anime conventions or whatever, but they tend to be very, very, very samey in that kind of way. But nonetheless, it was great, and it was it was Stephanie Sheh, Robbie Damon, Ben Diskin, Amanda Miller, Jeremy Lee, Christina V, Michelle Ruff was also there, voice of Luna, and Carrie Karanen, who is the voice of the evil flower alien thing that was possessing Ben's character's mind. And then a big surprise was Susie Goldish, the voice director, who I've had the pleasure of working with on another project as of late, not Sailor Moon though. She was great, and she was hilarious, and told a great story about how they had to re-record Fiore's name several times because they couldn't decide how they were pronouncing the R/L in his name until way later. She also jokingly referred to Ben as a dick in front of hundreds of people, which was hilarious. Actually, she and Ben were the highlights in terms of comedy on the panel. But also to give them credit, everybody on stage said something actually very poignant. Like Robbie was talking a lot about the way it is, and like in terms of like the fact that it was a story about love and misguided feelings, and like being true to yourself and true to your feelings and everything, which was going back to the whole bit about what Sailor Moon's themes, and a lot of it's like open different types of sexuality and everything, and they were talking about a lot about LBGT stuff, which was wonderful, and a lot of major applause. Michelle Ruff also got a major applause. She was talking about how like I think that we need stuff like this to remind us of like the amount of diversity that we have, and these characters really do a great job of representing that. It was just a lot of really smart things. Everybody on the panel, and Charlene was keeping things really bright and fun and interesting, and it was great. It was a really, really nice event. Because I would even say, like, if I were just watching the movie, I'll say this: I'm glad that I watched the movie like this, because I think if I were just watching it by itself and just like reviewing it, I'd be like, it was okay. It's fun. It's just a quick little adventure. But the fact that this event, and like they made a big thing out of it, and it was a ton of fun, and they had all these people here, and they had a lot of great things, surrounding the movie as well, that made it an even more enjoyable experience for me. And I'm really glad that they were able to do it that way. And again, that's not to say that I didn't enjoy the movie itself. The movie itself was a lot of fun. It's, it's a long episode of the show, and it was still a very, very entertaining long episode of the show. And I'm looking forward to, if they do these again for the S and Super S movies, I will be more than happy to go see these as well. I'm excited for when they get up to the S season as well, because I do love that season a lot for a lot of his characters. And I'm even looking more forward to Super S, because I adore that season the most. But nonetheless, this was great. I believe that currently it is in a bunch of other theaters. I was an idiot, and I didn't realize that the day that I was putting up the One Piece Film Gold curve log that I was doing, that it was the last day it was in theaters. So sorry about that. I hope you guys did see that. But I believe Sailor Moon R is in theaters across the country for a little while. So if you get the chance to go see it, please do. Please help keep anime in theaters. It deserves to be, and it's a lot of fun. If you've got people who are interested and want to check out Sailor Moon in a new, true to the original lights with a great new dub, and just have a good time with this quick little adventure with the Sailor Senshi and everything, go check it out. I really liked it. And I think that's it. So yeah, a little quick one. I'm happy to be doing a few short curve blogs for the first time in a while, considering I've been doing multi-hour long ones lately. Yes, thanks for listening. If you have any thoughts, if you've already seen the movie, or if you're interested in it, or have anything about the movie itself, or the Sailor Moon series, or the characters, or anything to share, then let me know in the comments below. Do you hope that they put more of the further Sailor Moon movies in theaters? Again, if let Viz know, actually, not even just commenting here, let Viz know that, because they'll love to probably do that. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Next week's curve log will be my thoughts on the last few episodes of the Pokemon X and Y series, after the point of which I did my original review with Derek Bittner. I'm going to be talking about the end of the series, as well as the beginning of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime series. Look forward to that, and then I'll have some very special announcements about the rest of the month and into February. So thanks for listening, and Moon, Crystal, Super, Planet, Mega, Ultra, Girl, Power. Lovely!